out, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to episode 12 of our series on Transport Fever 2 set in the northeast of the United States. Today we're having a quick look at one of our Amtrak Acela trains, and the reason is, well, we're going to do some more work on this line. Some of you may know that first of all, I need to correct myself because I'm pretty certain that Amtrak Acela, the Acela is actually the name of the express train that runs on this line, running from Boston to Washington DC, and the line itself is the Amtrak Northeast Regional, I think. Could be wrong, but that's my understanding. So what we're going to do, we're going to change the name of the line from Acela to Amtrak Northeast, and when we get an express train, which is obviously a little ways off right now, that train will have a name which will be the Acela, and that's what I'm planning. So what I'd like to do is do a little bit more work on the passenger line. We've gone as far as Brooklyn, or New York if you will, when we've got our Grand Central Terminal there in just between Brooklyn and New York Central. And what I'd like to do is continue those rail lines outwards towards Washington. We're not going to hit Washington today, of course, in this episode, but we should be able to get as far as Trenton quite easily. That's the next stop, and Philadelphia, hopefully. And once all the infrastructure has been put in place, we're just going to go and amend the line itself so it actually includes the two new cities, Trenton and Philadelphia. And over time, on the next episode or two, we will go as far as Washington. The other stops I'm planning on hitting are Wilmington, Baltimore, and then finally Washington DC. So let's bring up the UI first of all so we can see where we are. A couple of abandoned industries and the likes, but that's such is life. No new unlocks as of yet. So let's close that little information window there, and we'll say goodbye to our little train, and we're going to follow the line ourselves, flying over in our magic drone. We're going to head to Brooklyn, and we're going to continue the line towards Trenton, New Jersey. So here we are, getting close now. There we go. We are in Brooklyn and Grand Central Terminal. You can probably tell I've started expanding the line outwards. That's just so nothing builds along this side of this road here in Brooklyn, because we want that to ourselves. That's where our train line is going to run. The plan is, as I said, we're going to Trenton, which is just the other side of this industry over here. So we're going to come over here, run down here, and where are we headed? Yep, that's right. So we're going to jump this line. We need to jump this line, and then we're going to basically, in fact, no. So we're going to jump this line and then head this way, past the forest and our little truck route, and we can see we've got a station waiting for us here in Trenton. Let's rename that, there we go. After Trenton, like I said, hopefully we'll get to Philadelphia today, and then we're going Wilmington. We're going to skip Aberdeen, but we're going to go Baltimore, and then finally we're going to terminate at Washington DC. So the first thing we're going to do, obviously, is get to Trenton, New Jersey. We've got the station ready. It's not got any sort of connections yet, but do you know what? I think we'll put the connections in now while we're here, then they're done. So let's go ahead and do that, and that way we can get the buses running on the lines in anticipation for the passenger generation that is hopefully going to follow. So we're just going to upgrade that and connect it all in, and then we want to do a bus service in here where we don't want that, we want this. So we'll have a bus stop obviously outside the station, and I think Trenton, we are going to struggle to encapsulate it all with one bus stop. We could just about if we put it there. So that's what we'll do. We'll just have one for the time being, but as soon as Trenton experiences any sort of growth, we are going to have to look at adding extra lines here. For the colour, we'll go for a nice pink colour, I think, this time. And we'll just quickly give this a name, and this will be the Trenton Station Link. There we go. We need, in fact we don't, we already have a depot. I must have put that down there, I think it that might have been the last couple of episodes actually, now that I think back. But we do need some stagecoaches. I'm going to say we'll have 3. We're going to put the maintenance up because they are in the city. Give them their paint job and set them on their way. So that's running ready, that's all ready for us then. All we have to concern ourselves with now is bringing this track over to Trenton. So let's press on. What we want to do, we want to keep this level. In fact, we might want to rise it up, or raise it up I should say, a fraction. So we'll go to 28 meters. So it's going up 3 meters because it's only a short span of track, so we don't want to, you know, place too much burden on the engine, on the locomotives that we have available. And I think if we stay at this height, we're gonna be fine. And do we want to cross this here? But then we're gonna have to cross again there. Let me have a think. Yeah, I think we will. We'll cross over, then cross over again, essentially. So can we get that straight? That's actually going up a few meters there, if you can see. So let's get that level. 28, 29, about there. What's the clearance like? Yeah, that's plenty. That's more than enough. We don't have tall trains or anything, so we should be okay. And what do we want to do here? How do we want to make this look as nice as possible? I think what we want to do is go for an embankment and have it drop down a touch, or even just have it drop back down to ground level. And if we go to there, like this, it just means we're not having an excessively long bridge all the way over this little bit. Well, obviously we're going to have another bridge here because we're about to hit some water, but it just means we're not overdoing it with the bridges and making it look a little bit silly. So we need to start climbing once again, so we'll do that now. And as we can see, we are now getting to the stage where we need to think about our bridges once again. And do you know what? I think we want to stretch that a little further. Could we get away with that actually? Yeah, we could. But what we want to be mindful of is we want to make sure soon we have enough height clearance to be able to jump over the cargo line that we are fast approaching. And as we can see, we've actually dropped down here, or we've ditched the bridge in favour of your generic earthworks, but that's fine. I think we'll keep it elevated like this, because then we've already got a bit of a platform to raise up from, so we're not going down to go back up, if you know what I mean. Here we do want to start going up, and if we go for 25 meters, I think that's going to be okay. We'll go for the same style of bridge that we've just been using, and now this guy can stay on the level, not like that, you can't. Let's get that to 25. Whoa, no, don't do that. Maybe a little bit too low. Let's go to 27, and I'm hoping that now will, yes it will, it'll be tall enough to go straight over. We don't want to be going up, sorry, we don't want to be going up to 30, however, so let's just do that. Our height clearance is more than adequate here, so that's good. We're clearing the lines with room to spare, and at this point we want to start heading back down. So we'll do that. I think what we'll do is if we go to, I'm going to say 19 meters, so we're not quite obviously at ground level. I want just a little raised bit so we can change this road style here and have it tunnel underneath. Right, so let's see how we're looking. I think we're pretty much actually, yeah, we've gone flush, but that's it's fine. We can still put a tunnel underneath. We are now getting close to Trenton, as we can see, but we do need to start turning in. So let's just see what this will look like if we do a straight connection in. Yeah, that'll be fine. Nice top speed all the way through, and everybody will be happy. So we're going to want some diamonds here, or one diamond at least, obviously. So we'll do that, and it's a bit slow, but that's fine. And before we do anything else, we will just reroute this road here. The line is going to complain. No, it's not, it's just rerouted. I guess they're going to reroute this way, which is redundant because they'll still be crossing the line, won't they? Crossing the, oh, hello magic smoke. They'll still be crossing the train line, which we don't want them doing, so let's go ahead. Drop that down, maybe just 2 steps will be enough. No, it's going to have to be 3. No, it's going to have to be 4. We have to go 4. Maybe you're hitting the water below. Maybe that's a problem. Oh no. As soon as I did a Z curve, it decided it liked it. Maybe we can do the same here then. Yeah, it's a bit, probably a bit steep. No, it's not too bad. It's going to be steep to get back up to the road, but that's no problem because we can just push this road ever so slightly back, and then we've got more of a road up here, and it's just going to take the edge off the excessive nature of that curve. This bit is going to be a bit of a problem. We don't want to get rid of those waypoints, but what we want to do is have a gentle enough slope up to there and retain the ability to do something like that, which we've done. And it doesn't look overly steep either. So we can restart. What we'll quickly do while we're here is paint over all that gravel with some grass so it all blends and it looks normal. We're not going to mess about with the smoothing tool after what happened last time, so we're just going to ignore that. We're going to live with the ever so slightly angular edges that we have. Okay, with all that done, we can now start on some signal work. In fact, the first thing we could probably do, the best thing to, no, yes, signals first. We definitely need signals first. I was going to amend the train line first, but without any signals down here, our trains would be waiting an age. So let's do our signals first of all. So that's for the junction. We can keep them fairly well spaced out. I mean, we do have quite a few trains running this Amtrak northeast, however, they are running a long distance, so they shouldn't really have issues bunching up or anything like that. But we still want to make sure we have enough spacing that they don't sit on top of one another. Anyway, there we go. So let's first of all rename this, and this is going to be the Amtrak Northeast. And now we can go to manage the line. So after Grand Central, you are now coming to Trenton. Our bus line is already set up, of course. And then after Trenton, you're going back to Grand Central. and carrying on as you were. Perfect. So people are heading to Trenton. That's just because the platform assignments have all got a bit weird until they recalculate. What do we have? Oh, we have improved wagons, 50-mile-an-hour wagons with improved capacity. We have our first combustion engine public transportation road vehicle, a new passenger wagon, so a lot of things to look at, and I think that's what we'll do today. Now I was planning on going down to Philadelphia with our Amtrak, however the arrival of these upgrades has changed my plans. So the first thing we definitely 100% are going to do is swap out all our horse-drawn stagecoaches for the Max. So let's do that. We want vehicle manager, road vehicles only, and because we've labelled all our bus routes with this B symbol, we know they're all together and we don't have to worry about accidentally clicking a freight line. So first things first, swap you guys for the Mac, and not that we need to check, but we can see here it's infinitely better. 4 extra miles per hour, a lot more kilowatts, and 22 extra kilowatts, and increased capacity as well. Obviously the emissions are quite considerably higher, but that's to be expected as they're now using a combustion engine. We want to make sure we keep the maintenance set to very high, so we'll change that. Now we want to look at our freight lines, and we certainly want to look at our big profitable freight lines. So what we're going to do is drag you up there. We're going to run a filter so we only have railroads, and you know what, first of all, shall we do our 2 Amtraks? So I have renamed this to Amtrak Lakeshore, which I believe is the line that runs from Boston to Springfield via Worcester. So let's have a look at the Amtrak Lakeshore and the Amtrak Northeast, and we'll check this new passenger wagon that we've just unlocked. So we know they're together because they're RP for rail passenger. So if we go to edit and we want wagons and we want this, so it's an increased capacity, it's an increased speed, obviously it is increased cost, but that is part and parcel. It's heavier, but that's fine, but the emission is ever so slightly lower. So we're increasing our capacity by 8 overall, and in terms of performance, so we're still topping out at 50, because that's, in fact, in that case then what we might want to do, because we do have faster trains than 50. So let's do these one at a time. If we do, no, we don't do that. If we do this, and first of all, which is the fastest loco, and that's obviously the 10-wheeler, and then we go for the new 6-axle passenger cars, we can see a new train versus an old train. So this one, as you can see, it doesn't quite get up to its top speed on medium anymore. However, we are going up to 62 miles per hour on the flats. I think that's worth it. I think that's a worthwhile substitution. So what we'll do, instead of editing them both, we'll actually just replace. So we want the loco, we want in the blue livery, and we want the passenger wagons also with the blue livery. So replace both of them. That's them done. Now we'll do the same for the Amtrak Northeast, and we'll do the same setup, but obviously we want the different colour, so green, and then like that. 31 million, my word. But that's all our trains, our passenger trains, upgraded, and we may as well, if we can spot one of them, have a quick look at the new design. So here we go. Let's just do this. We can, oh, I thought we'd paused it, but we hadn't. So yes, it looks very, very nice. I like the colour and I like the logo. It's, like I said, it's not as efficient in terms of getting up to its speed as its predecessor. However, whereas the other one topped out at 50, this can now push on through to 62, and that is a worthwhile upgrade, especially because they have a good distance between a lot of the stations to open up and really hit that top speed. Now let's go back to the vehicle manager, the line overview. So the fuel production trains are definitely ones we want to look at upgrading. Likewise, our grain freight trains. I think we'll do fuel. No, we'll do the grain first. Let's go to manage vehicles. We want to edit them. And let's see, so our existing trains have a capacity of 84. So what do we want to replace these with? We want the gondolas here, because they're carrying grain. And let's just see what we can do. So if we wanted to replicate the capacity, we could certainly do that. In terms of the performance, it's better. However, we could also upgrade the locomotive that we're using. I think these have the Mogul, which tops out at 47. Do we have anything that could hit 50? The Virginia and Truckee does go to 50. The 10-wheeler goes to 62. So we'd be wasting a potential 12 miles per hour. Well, let's just have a look and see the difference here. Yeah, that's a far better option. I think that's what we're going to do for these trains then. So we're going to maintain the capacity, but we are going to change the loco. So we want 7 wagons. Now, can we afford to do all 4 of these trains in one? Let us find out. So first of all, the locomotive, and then 7 wagons. Ooh, just under. Now we can do it. There. So obviously, we've eaten through our entire cash reserve, so we can't upgrade anything else today. And I am reluctant to take out a loan to fund any further upgrades. I'd rather wait until we generate the cash on our own merit. But what we can do is have a look at our new freight trains. So as I said, these technically are inefficient because they're restricting the max speed of the loco because the carriages can only do 50, whereas obviously as we saw the loco can do 62. The trade-off for that, however, is we're hitting higher speeds on medium, and we're not taking, it's the time to get to our top speeds on these gradients isn't necessarily that bad. So I think it's a worthwhile investment, and we're doing it anyway. We've done it now. We're not going to get rid of them. We're not going to revert back. Sadly, we're not going to have time, we don't have the funds to change any others around at this point in time. So I think what we'll have to do is call an end to it here today. And between this episode and the next one, what I'll do is I'll leave it running with the date paused. So I'll pause that now before I forget. For maybe 10 to 15 minutes, we'll build up a nice little war chest. Some of the trains I'll upgrade off camera, and I'll save a couple for on camera, so we see the upgrade process. But as I said, some of them will be done, behind closed doors. And then once we can afford to do a few more on camera, that's when we'll carry on our line to Philadelphia. And as I touched on, Wilmington, Baltimore and Washington. So I think the obvious choice for our cab ride today is going to be one of our new passenger trains. Do we have one heading out? Yeah, you'll do. We've missed this leg of the journey, but we haven't missed much. So let's hop on board and we'll just take a look through the extended Amtrak Northeast line, and I'll let it run as far as Trenton, and that'll be it for the cab ride today. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode as always. If you have done so, please consider leaving a thumbs up if you believe I have so earned it and justified it. But regardless, just having Your ongoing support is more than enough. But for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. Strap yourselves in for this 62-mile-an-hour ride that we're gonna embark on. Heady speeds, dizzy speeds. Make sure you're all buckled in. It's ta-ta for now.